Alright, so remember we talked about the speedometer? We're still working on the Honda 600 XL. One more thing I wanted to try and do. I'm either gonna show you something educational, or I'm going to embarrass myself pretty quickly. Let me get that lens up here a little closer for you. And if you can see these cracks right in here on this is the speedometer mount, and what's happening is when I loosen or tighten the bolt, this or nut, the bolt inside here is spinning because of these broken areas here. So it's spread out and the bolt is turning. There's a couple different ways of doing this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of more of a redneck type of a repair, and I'll show you kind of how we're going to do this. I've got a power hacksaw here. And I'm going to trim these gussets off right here. Alright, so now needing those pliers here that are just, you know, I sacrifice a lot of tools, but what I've done with this one, you can see that there's a groove that I've ground in there, and the reason why, let me get you back here, the reason why I do that is because I'm using these pinch clamps, and these things are good for not shooting all over the shop. So I'm going to squeeze that open, and I'm going to put this pinch clamp right there. Alright, now what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get a little propane torch. I've got two of them here, but this one is pretty crappy. This one doesn't have a striker on it, but it holds okay. So I'm going to hold this open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this. There we go. This one's broken as well. It's got a busted, it's a blue point, but it had a busted safety on it. Anyway, so we're going to just get this hot here, hopefully without beating it too bad. Let's see what it does here. Let's start squeezing. Looks like it's trying to move and pinch its way to the top, so I'm going to try something else here. I've got Fastenal fender washers. What I can do is this. Now that's cooled down just a little bit. Let's see if that clamp will come off of there without shooting across the shop. A fender washer. Maybe that'll keep that from popping off of there. So then we'll do the same thing. I'm gonna heat that up. And the purpose of that is to try and recook this plastic so that it squeezes down in there and kind of vulcanizes a little bit. Cool a second and see what that does. Alright, so I pulled the clamp off, let it cool down. and it looks like it stayed about the same. It doesn't look like it's wider or anything. Sorry about the plastic on my hand. I got a sticker in there, metal shaving or something. I'm trying to get it to stick into the tape, and then I can yank the tape off. But anyway, I think I'm going to try this one the same way. I'm going to have to take this acorn nut off and use that one. You can see that that'll go in there. Now I do have a plastic welding apparatus. It's kind of like a large soldering gun with a hole in the end of it. But I don't know that I really want to use that. I think I just want to try and get this to kind of work to remold the plastic, and then once it cools down it should work. You see it's kind of squeezing out of there, so it's getting pretty hot. So try that. You see it squeezing out of there, so I don't want it too hot, and then I don't want to distort the mount between these two pieces here. And take my soldering gun and I can flatten this down and get that warm again. As a matter of fact, I've got a little handheld soldering gun here. It's made by Power Probe. It's a pretty good unit. Just turn it on. Let's see if it'll pop. Yeah, usually this one's a one shot. It's one of the better propane or butane powered soldering gun. And once it starts to get warm enough, what you can do, like right in that crack right there, I usually dig it pretty deep, and then I will fold it over. And kind of sort of stitch it back together in a way. This area here, I don't want to take the plastic and cut it off, because you know it's already got less plastic than it needs. It actually needs a little bit bigger of an area. So we'll just keep getting that hot and welding that, basically plastic welding this back into place here. Try and smooth that around like this a little bit. I mean, it's not going to look perfect, I can promise you that. Nothing like this is, and I could clean it up a little bit with a Scotch-Brite pad and maybe a little tiny hand grinder or a Dremel tool. But this piece of the bolt here has to mount up in the speedometer mount, so I don't want anything protruding here. Yeah, so all this plastic right here is going to have to be trimmed and dropped lower than the bolt head itself, so that it'll mount flush. So you just keep moving this around, and you'll get like a little booger like that, and you just want to put that back into this, melt a little channel in there, and that'll help to somewhat vulcanize it back into place. And this is how you have to basically do these things that are non-replaceable. You can't find the parts. This is an 86 model. The speedometer is no longer available, probably by about 15 or 20 years it hasn't been available. So this is going to have to be done either way. Gun sticks, but just keep in mind that glue gun sticks are not as strong as this ABS type plastic is. So in some cases what I would do is, like these gussets right here, I would scissor that gusset off, and I would actually use that as a portion to weld into some of this. Now I can smooth this out with a little Dremel tool or something, and I'll probably do that off camera because it won't take just a minute to do that. And I might even take a flat file or a piece of sandpaper and just kind of clean that up. But that's kind of what it is. That's about what it's going to look like. I mean, it's not great looking, but at least it'll get it back together. And then one thing you can do is these acorn nuts that go on here, if you over tighten these things, then when you loosen it up, it's going to split this. It'll split this spot in here. I've even gone as far as to drill a little hole in there and put a pin through it, but man, that's a lot of work, and pin doesn't always stay. And keep in mind there's a lot of vibration on this. So I'm going to finish this one up here. I'm going to go ahead and post the video and let you look at that. And of course, comment if you like, share, and subscribe if you like. And we'll try to keep you up with these little redneck videos, just kind of showing you how to do these little things kind of on the cheap. There's a little thumbs up for you, and we'll be seeing you soon.